How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Troy Lee Designs Stage mountain biking helmet. It's downhill rated, full face, and this is by far my new favorite do everything helmet. I've always been on the half shell bandwagon just for the lightweight breathability of the helmet because I ride in Texas. Well, I can easily say that this helmet checks all of the benefits that you get from a half shell helmet, but it adds on that full face protection, safety, and durability while still maintaining that amazing airflow. I have one negative, but it's a very nitpicky minor detail. The visor looks good, but it's mounted from the factory a little bit high, in my opinion, the angle. I drilled a hole at the very top point where I could move it down a little bit more. But depending on if you're one of those guys that likes to put your goggles up on your forehead whenever you're taking a break, this may not even be an issue for you. And speaking of the visor, the side-mounted thumb screws, they tend to work themselves loose while riding. They can be tightened back down with your thumb though. Now, starting with the inside of the helmet, just kind of go through some of the details here. The padding is substantial, and your lower padding is thick enough that it really holds your head in place once you get the helmet on. And you have these adjustable custom fit pads where there's 3 different levels. You have your thin, medium, and large. I just kept the medium ones in place because that's what they came with stock from the factory. So speaking of the interior pads, you get replacements for almost everything. So if you're a really sweaty guy and you wear the helmet a lot and the pads start to break down, you've got an extra MIPS liner which lines the entire inside of the helmet. You also get additional neck pads, the ear pads or the cheek pads that I just showed you. All of that comes with the helmet. So if you find something's breaking down or wearing out and you can't clean it up anymore because it's falling apart, you got the option of switching them all out. Now, speaking of falling apart, I have had this helmet for about a year. I haven't had any issues at all with the quality of the materials, the padding, and everything. This is the only helmet that I wear now, mainly because it checks all the boxes of an open face helmet with the good airflow, but then you add on that extra layer of protection from the full face mask. And if you're the kind of guy that likes to go for a custom painted helmet, it comes with all of the stickers so that you can paint the helmet and then reapply all of the decals to give you that custom factory looking paint job. Now, I've said earlier that I use this helmet now for pretty much any ride that I go on. Now, if I'm riding a trail, I'm just going to throw my trail Oakley sunglasses on. They fit perfectly under the helmet. But if I'm going to be going to a downhill park and doing any riding where there's a lot of dust that's getting kicked up, I'm usually going to throw my goggles on underneath. I was actually really impressed with how the goggles fit into the helmet. They kind of have a groove that they sit into, and they don't slip, they don't move. And that also makes for a good transition into why I picked the helmet. Obviously, the first thing you see is what it looks like, and I love the styling on this helmet. It matches the bike that I was trying to match, and if you have a crayon box sitting around, just to give you a quick look at what the colors are that are on this helmet, since it can be hard to tell when you're looking online, a sky blue crayon is going to be a good match for the internal padding and the accents on the helmet, where the gray is going to be just your traditional gray crayon. So that'll give you a good match if you've got those sitting around. If you're trying to color match a bike, you have a better idea of kind of what you're looking at, since not everybody has access to a Pantone book to actually pull up the colors and verify if the colors match what they're trying to match them to. One other feature that I forgot to mention when talking about the interior of the helmet was the magnetic clasp closure for the neck strap. Now, this is something I kind of wish my son's helmet had on it, because I've pinched him before trying to buckle his helmet on. But with this helmet, you have 2 pieces of a magnet that are on the buckle, I guess we can call it. And as you can see, whenever you put the 2 pieces together, when they touch, they just pull together and they're locked in place. And then once you slide them apart, there's a little thumb press. You just simply push them in opposite directions and it slides right off. So it's really easy to use. If you're new to mountain bike helmets, you may not be familiar with the MIPS system, but basically what MIPS is it's an interior shell that is floating separately from the outer shell. It just allows the helmet to stay in place, and if you hit a rotational force on a crash, the outer shell will move freely from that interior padding. I 100% recommend buying this helmet. I would even go as far as saying this is a must buy if you do any downhill riding, or if you just want that added safety of having a full face helmet which maintains that breathability of a full or an open face helmet. So this is a no-brainer for me, highly recommended. And as always, if this video was helpful for you guys, if you got anything from it, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. That's greatly appreciated.